type 1 is the part of us that cares tremendously about integrity. There are different areas that ones might focus that on, but whatever their focus, ones want things to be done correctly, with integrity, with love, really.
You've probably heard of some of the famous examples of the Enneagram Type 1. Confucius, Gandhi, moral leaders like Meryl Streep or Spock, even a character like Mary Poppins.
Why do you always complicate things that are really quite simple? Give me your hand, please, Michael. Don't slouch. 1, 2.
Also known as the reformer, you've probably heard this type referred to as conscientious, ethical, people who have high standards, and maybe they're critical depending on how you look at it. But looking at these words, on some level, don't they kind of describe all of us? Don't we all have high standards in some areas? Don't we all like it when everything is the way we want it to be? Well, yeah, totally. So how do we know if we're really an Enneagram Type 1? I think the best way to tell is to take a close look at the core fear and the cycles that follow.
Let's start with the 1. The underlying need is a compulsive need to feel that I am right. We somehow got the message that if we were right, we would be on top of the situation. We would be in control. I am right is what we're always saying. And we work so hard to be right. We tried as little boys, as I did, to please my very demanding mother. And I knew the only way I'd keep her love was being a good little right boy and never making any mistakes. Not just I am right, but I am good.
The world is a messy place. We have problems, and they're so deep-rooted and fundamental. We fix one thing, and another pops up. How can we ever make progress? A lot of us just want to throw our hands up and say, that's it, the world's just hopelessly broken. In the middle of this chaos, Type 1s have a special gift. It's almost like they can see the world in slow motion. This inner clarity makes the 1 great at giving us practical guidance, letting us know how we can move forward, calling the shots. And the 1s are right an alarming amount of the time.
As I expected, Mary Poppins practically perfect in every way.
Of course, we can never let the 1s know that because they would get so cocky. But if we're honest, we have to admit the world would be a better place if we let the 1s be in charge of the things they want it to be. As infuriating as it is, 1s have found that they can bring value to the world by being righteous. I don't mean that in a religious sense, just that 1s are right a lot of the time, and that adds value. But a key concept in the Enneagram is that every gift becomes a curse. Because if someone believes that their value comes from being right, they're going to be very sensitive to the fear, what if I'm wrong? All it takes is being wrong one time, and everyone can write you off as being crazy, corrupt, or phony for the rest of your life. Then what power would you have? So the 1 becomes preoccupied with this need to be right. It's important to note that this isn't an inherently bad thing to want. I mean, after all, who would sit around dreaming about being wrong? The question is the 1 going to respond to their core need in a way that's healthy, or in a way that's very, very bad? When I think of a 1 caught in a negative cycle, I think of Angela from The Office.
I don't back down. My sister and I used to be best friends, and we haven't talked in 16 years over some disagreement I don't even remember. So, yeah, I'm pretty good.
Although everyone else in The Office enjoys being right, I don't know that anyone else hinges their value so much on the idea of being right. Angela believes that her value to the people around her comes from her righteousness. And so, like every Type 1, she's deeply afraid of losing her image, her authority. The need to be right turns into this fear of being condemned. And it's not pretty.
Stop it, Mr. Ash! No, now listen, you can't let what you see here sully your image of them. They are good, decent cats.
The 1 tries to deal with their fear of being condemned by correcting others. So they start leading the charge of who else is going to get condemned first.
Lunch party? It's supposed to say launch party. What is wrong with you? Dangerous, tacky, sharks, haunted. No.
Each year we have a Christmas raffle.
It would never work here.
Okay. Another idea was karaoke.
No.
A Christmas drinking game.
Yes.
God help you.
In the one's head, this crusade is going to go great. They're going to call out the BS. They're going to tidy up the world, and in the end, everyone's going to be so appreciative of the one's insight and courage. That's a nice fantasy, but it just doesn't work like that in real life. Correcting others out of fear and from a place of self-protection just doesn't go well. It only leads to resentment and animosity. You know, no one looks up to Angela's righteousness, even though she tries really hard. Everyone is just simply waiting for her to slip up so they can finally knock her off her high horse. If you're a one, you probably know exactly how this goes.
The sparkling cider is very good.
I think that's champagne.
Because everyone's just waiting for Angela to make a mistake. It just intensifies her need to be right and never make one. And that's exactly how the cycle feeds itself, with the one getting more and more desperate, mean, and indignant with each cycle. The one can't be completely perfect, right? Inevitably, they get caught in some mistake, or else something terribly traumatic happens that exposes the one as undeniably flawed, and the whole thing comes crashing down. So what if the one can put all of this back and try to deal with their core need in a different way? The healthiest way that ones can act on their core need is to embrace it. Again, there's nothing wrong about wanting to be right. The one can feel free to say, okay, I need to be right. And when the one has accepted this about themselves, the best thing for them to do is to find and delight in things that are true. As a very healthy one once said, they who know the truth are not equal to those who love it. While the unhealthy one gets exasperated by trying to constantly correct others, the healthy one simply shares what's true. The one's cup naturally overflows. When others see that the one is sharing truth from a place of authenticity and passion, they want more of it. They're at least way more likely to respond with appreciation and support. This affirmation is what gives the one the motivation, and more importantly, the platform to continue their search for what's true. And their overflowing cup turns into a fountain. The best part is, this cycle powers itself. The ones are amazing when they're on fire.
I may not get there with you, but I want you to know tonight that we as a people will get to the promised land.
Without the one, would Jim Crow still be the law? Would we still be going to separate schools? Without the one, how sure are you we would all be able to vote? Without the reforming power of the one, what would our religion look like? Would we still be a British colony?
Gentlemen may cry, peace, peace, but there is no peace.
Without the one, how corrupt would Hollywood be? The unwavering clarity of the one drives the world to be a better place. On the flip side, the unhealthy one makes us feel like we're being watched. We almost just wait for them to leave the room so that we can live our real lives. Now, for the type 1, I don't think these cycles are as enlightening of an experience as it is for other types. Mostly because I think the one is already very good at understanding why they do what they do. So for this type, I think the best reason to look into the cycles is the opportunity to ask, honestly, is my righteous anger alienating people or bringing them closer?